What's going on, guys? Playbox here, and we're back for another Dragon Ball Legends video. In this one, I want to talk about something that I feel like many people still have trouble with, and it's going to be about the most optimal equipments to use on your character. More specifically, the difference between either a base stat buff and a pure stat buff for certain equipments, and just overall what type of equipments you should be using on your characters and your team compositions and playing in PvP, right? Obviously, like if you're playing PvE, this wouldn't really apply that much, but it still would apply to PvP. But it's mainly for players that play PvP, right? So if we take a look here and we go to characters, we have our team composition here, a standard Saiyans team, and you can see that the equipments I have on the Super Vegito here are the following. I have this awakened equipment that gives all these stats. I have this platinum equipment that gives all these stats, and then of course the second platinum equipment that gives all these stats. Now this is probably a bad example of a team to use, but let's for example go over to my fusions team right here. So let's compare these two equipments right here. So there's this one, there's an awakened equipment that is pretty good, and you should most likely run on a lot of your fusion members because it gives a really big percentage in your base strike attack. So as you can see, it gives base up to plus 35% to base strike attack, which is really good. It's a large amount. It's usually what you would see on like unique equipments, right? But then we take a look at this equipment right here, and it has this different wording to it. It's 4.7% or up to 5% to just straight up strike attack for each tagged Fusion Warrior battle member. And if you're running a full Fusion Warriors team, that would be a 15% increase because it does count the unit that this equipment is equipped on. So 3 battle members that you bring into battle, so that would be up to 15% strike attack. Notice the wording. This is strike attack, and then this one is base strike attack. Now, a lot of people might get some misconceptions on what this might be, but basically what this means is base strike attack is, so if you're adding plus 35% to base strike attack, it's a multiplier that is added on to the stats of a character. So, as you can see here, Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, or Zenkai Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, has 288,000 strike attack to his strike attack stat, right? And so that 35% base strike attack will be added on directly to this number. But if we take into account the pure strike attack or just straight up strike attack, the 15% that we're getting from the other equipment, that would be added on to the strike attack total that will basically take into account all the other buffs as well. So the boost, as you can see on the side, that's giving you an additional 56,000. And I believe the boost it takes into account all the Z ability buff. Okay, maybe not the Z ability buff in this case, but it would be taking into account all the Z ability buffs, all the Zenkai buffs, all the title bonuses. It takes into account all that. It comes up with a final number, and then on top of that, it adds on the 15% strike attack to that. So the number will definitely be greater than the base strike attack, because this one, although it is a higher number, the base strike attack will be added on to the strike stat before any of the boosts, right? So in that case, when you're equipping a pure strike attack, it would give you more of a multiplier, and you'll end up doing more damage, right? So it's really important that you utilize pure strike attack equipments for pretty much all your team composition and all your units, right? Generally, what the more balanced approach is to usually have one equipment that at least gives you HP. For example, this one for me gives, is it this one? Or I think it was the other platinum equipment. Let me take a look. This one right here, this is the awakened equipment. This gives me base health for Super Vegito. Most of the time, you're going to be seeing around 5 to 10% base health per equipment. So this is a perfect equipment for Super Vegito here. And it gives a bunch of strike attack, base strike attack, special move damage, ultimate damage. This is a must run, one of the best equipment in the game. This is a must run on any Vegito unit. So this provides me the base health and the big chunk of base strike attack. So I'm covered on both those ends. And then typically you would try to add on, if you didn't have those strike attack buffs, you'd typically add on another one that gives you a big chunk of strike attack, or whatever type of unit you're using. In this case, I am using a strike oriented unit, but if it's a blast oriented unit, you'd use base blast attack. If you're trying to build a defensive unit, you would get some base strike or blast defense, and then so on and so forth. So this gives me my big strike attack, but the other equipment already gives me that. So I opted to use this unique equipment that gives me literally all bunch of effects, right? So health restoration, base key recovery, ultimate move damage, all this stuff. And then we top it off with a pure equipment. For this one, I use the Fusion Warrior Battle Member because I'm on a Fusion Warriors team, so this gives me up to 15%. So basically you would want to go with the HP buff, and then a big base stat buff for whatever unit you're building, either a blast attack, strike defense, blast defense, and then a pure strike attack, either per battle member or just per melee or per battle style. For example, this one gives you pure strike attack per or when a battle style melee type is a battle member. Usually the per battle member is a bit better because it gives you a higher multiplier, but you can go wrong with this one as well if you don't have the other one available, right? So that's typically what you want to go for. Now, in certain cases, you might want to even use 2 pure because, let's say for example, one of your unit is getting Zenkai buffed a lot. In this case, like Vegito Blue is getting double Zenkai buff by himself and by Namek Goku. So, you know, potentially you would want to go for double pure equipments. This one offers 12.5% to strike attack when God Key Battle Member, and then this one gives it a big strike attack base strike attack buff. I can easily opt in and put like a pure option here. Like for example, I could put in this one, and this would still work as well because since Vegito is already getting a lot of base strike attack, he's getting this. You can utilize this double pure, and it would actually work out pretty well. Now, I wouldn't recommend using double pure on just regular units because you have to also emphasize on getting a lot of base stat buff, because we all know that the pure strike, the multiplier is added on top of the base stat with all the bonuses, right? So you want to have a pretty high base number so that after all the buffs, all the boosts is applied, the pure multiplier would actually have a bigger effect. Because let's say you just stack up a bunch of pure equips, you don't really have that much base stat, right? You want to build that up before you can add on the pure. So it's generally better to just run one single pure equip and then one base equip and then an HP. But in certain cases when you're like, you know, triple Zenkai buffing, double Zenkai buffing units, it would work out to use double pure. You can honestly test out different builds and see whether or not the damage is different or similar. That's a good way to approach it. Gamepress actually has a couple tests that they have done with different sort of equips on different sort of opponents. I'll probably link the article there. You could take a look at what they've done and what the tests they've done and what kind of differences they've seen. But basically, whenever they use the pure equipment, they would see an increase in damage compared to just simply using base equipment. So it's always important to use your base, your pure equips alongside the base equipments. And like I said, I would always recommend to at least use one pure equip. It really doesn't matter which one, right? Like let's say for this one, do I have any? Usually it's pretty much available for any tag. I might not have it for all of them. For example, there's one for future. This one's an awakened one, and it gives actually up to 6% to strike attack for future battle member, which is really good. There's also one for hybrids. Let's take a look here. There's one for hybrids, which is actually really ridiculous here. It gives up to, I believe, 8% to blast attack and 8% to strike attack. This equipment right here for hybrids is insane. This is a must run on literally every single hybrid unit you use if you're running a full hybrids team. This is like, unfortunately, it is an awakened equipment, so it's kind of harder to re-roll, but this is like a must-have on every single hybrid unit. Obviously, there's other stuff as well, blast defense, and I believe there's literally pure equipments for every single stat. Well, every of the major stats: strike attack, strike defense, blast attack, blast defense. This one right here gives pure blast defense if you want to build a more tankier unit. So it's really important, like I said, to have at least one of your equipments being a pure. That way you can maximize your damage output, maximize your tanking output. It's definitely a good way to go. Like most top players, they're always running at least one pure equip, one blast equip, and usually one HP equip. But like I said, it's really important not to just stick around with the base stat and go with some pure buffs as well. This is more of a shorter video, I guess. Just want to emphasize on the importance of these two equipments and the differences between base and pure. because it can actually make a big difference when translated over into the PvP gameplay. So definitely test out what different builds, see what suits you the best, and go from there. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe, because that shit is so important. So don't forget. Have a great day. See ya.